You know what's wild? Everyone's talking about the Blue Jays' off-season additions, the free agent signings, the big names coming in, but nobody's really paying attention to what's happening right underneath the surface. And that's exactly where championships are either built or broken. The bullpen, specifically three arms that could be the difference between the Blue Jays being a playoff team in 2026 or watching October baseball from home. I've been watching these guys closely, and honestly, I think most people are sleeping on this conversation entirely. Let's talk about it. If you followed the 2025 Blue Jays at all, you saw something really interesting happen in real time. Chad Green, a guy the organization was leaning on heavily just 1 year prior, got designated for assignment. Gone, just like that. And in his place, young arms like Braden Fisher and Mason Fluharty stepped up and carved out legitimate roles in that bullpen by the second half of the season. That's how fast things move in baseball. That's how quickly a roster spot opens up and a career either launches or stalls. And right now, heading into spring training 2026, there are three names you absolutely need to have on your radar. The first one is Lazaro Estrada, and I genuinely think he's the most interesting case of the three. He got a taste of the big leagues last season, 2 appearances, and honestly, the results were kind of all over the place, which makes the evaluation tricky. His first outing? Legitimately impressive. He came in after a short start by Max Scherzer back in July and threw 4 solid innings. That's not easy. That's not a fluke. You don't just waltz into a major league game cold and eat 4 innings if you don't have real stuff. But then Baltimore happened, 6 earned runs in 3 1/3 innings against the Orioles, and suddenly the narrative shifts. Here's the thing though, and this is what I keep coming back to. Across those 7 1/3 total innings, he struck out 10 batters. 10. His slider was generating a 55% whiff rate. His curveball, 66.7%. Those are not minor league numbers. Those are swing and miss weapons at the highest level of the sport. The problem was his fastball. Batters were hitting .444 against it, which is obviously not sustainable. But that's also a fixable problem. That's a pitch mix and location issue, not a stuff issue. The underlying numbers tell me Estrada has the ceiling to be a genuinely reliable bullpen arm, and as the organization's 21st ranked prospect, he's going to get every opportunity this spring to prove it. He's been a starter throughout the minors, so there's a chance Buffalo keeps him stretched out as depth. But the more likely path, he's in the big league bullpen this year, and sooner rather than later. Now let me bring up a name that I feel like has completely fallen off people's radar. Angel Bastardo. 2 winters ago, the Blue Jays grabbed him in the Rule 5 draft, and the tools were obvious. Right-handed reliever out of Venezuela, signed internationally by the Red Sox back in 2018 when he was just 16 years old. And then Tommy John surgery in the summer of 2024 essentially wiped out an entire season of development. Just gone. A full year of reps, gone. Here's what makes this situation genuinely fascinating heading into 2026. His ERA in Double-A with Portland wasn't great, a 5.36 across 10 starts, but coming off Tommy John, you have to look beyond the surface numbers. The fact that he was touching 97 miles per hour on the fastball tells you the arm strength is there, and scouts who have tracked him throughout his career consistently point to his changeup as a legitimate weapon, potentially an above-average major league pitch. That's a big deal for a reliever. But here's the real pressure in this situation. If Bastardo doesn't make the opening day roster and doesn't stick with the club for at least 90 days this season, the Blue Jays have to return him to Boston. That deadline creates urgency. That creates a real competition this spring, where Bastardo has every reason to come out and prove he belongs. I love those situations. A guy with his back against the wall, real stuff, something to prove. Those are exactly the arms that surprise people. And then there's Ricky Tiedemann. And I mean, where do you even start with this story? 2 years ago, Tedman was the jewel of this entire organization, the #1 prospect, the guy everyone pointed to when they talked about the future of this rotation. Left-handed, throws up to 99 miles per hour, legitimate swing and miss slider, a changeup that keeps hitters completely off balance. There was a real conversation happening about whether he was already one of the top pitching prospects in all of baseball, and then injuries, again. Tommy John surgery, and suddenly guys like Trey Yesevich, Jojo Parker, and Arjun Nimala have leapfrogged him in the organizational hierarchy. That's just the brutal reality of pitching in professional baseball. The health stuff isn't a character flaw, it's just bad luck that derails timelines in ways nobody can predict. But here's what hasn't changed. When Ricky Tiedemann is healthy and on the mound, he is electric. The stuff is real, the fastball is real. The problem has always been command. His walk rate climbed to concerning levels before the 2024 injury, and his whip has fluctuated enough over the years to raise legitimate questions about whether he can consistently attack the strike zone at the major league level. The plan this year is pretty clearly to start him at AAA Buffalo. Take it slow, protect the arm, let him build confidence in innings. But if everything goes right in the first half, and that's the key phrase, Tiedemann could absolutely be a factor out of this bullpen later in the season. And honestly, that might be the perfect role for him right now. Short stints, full effort, letting that 99-mile-per-hour fastball and that wipeout slider play up in leverage situations. You're not asking him to manage a lineup 3 times through. You're asking him to come in and get 4 outs. For a guy with his strikeout potential, that's a terrifying matchup for opposing hitters. The bigger picture here is what makes following this team so compelling right now. The Blue Jays have brought in Trevor Richards, Chase Lee, Spencer Miles. They've done work to fortify this bullpen, but rosters are living, breathing things. Guys get hurt, guys underperform, and when that door opens, whoever is ready to walk through it gets a career-defining opportunity. Estrada, Bastardo, and Tedman are all standing right at that door. Spring training is going to tell us a lot.